Jive Hive Jeff from Two Hacks Garage. Well, back in my garage. As you saw, I was over at Micah's last night, doing more planning on Project 9194, that rowdy, soon to be rowdy, 91 Chevy Silverado that he's putting an LS in. But, with that, I'm back in my garage for today and tonight. And what we're going to do is do a little bit more wiring. As you saw, I did start a little bit of stuff, getting some items pre-installed with this. Later on that night, I actually did do a lot more wiring on this. Absolutely forgot to film it. I'm still in that vacation mode. Couldn't sleep. Decided, you know what, I'm just going to work on this, and got a good head start on doing some of the wiring on this. But we still have to wire up fan, gauges, the vacuum pump for the brake booster. Speaking of which, I unpackaged that, and I found the relay was broken. Called my buddy Rob at Jegs, called him up and said, hey man, I got a little bit of a problem, this is broken. No problem, he's going to get me one sent out today, so kudos to Jegs on their customer service on that. But all these little things we still got to wire up. Waiting on some parts. I got to get a bracket for my MSD box, heat shield, waiting on that, and some terminals to connect the rest of the large wiring on this. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to get as much as we can wired on this, maybe get some gauges in, and just a little odds and ends. Making use of our free time is a must. It's not that many days off till No Name Nationals. I'm a very busy person. I've got kids. I've got a job. I'm helping other people with other projects, got yard work, all that type of stuff. So anytime I do get some free time, I try to stay focused on working on this car. Even if it's 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, everything adds up. Being on vacation for those, 10 days, it put me in that mindset of, oh man, this is great. Got to relax a little bit. But you know what? You got to get back to reality. You got to get back to your job, get back to your life, get back to working on a car. So that's what I've been doing. And besides Project 9194, besides Project Bird of Prey, Kyle's been doing a lot of work on his GTO, ordered wheels and tires. He's upgrading his cooling system. He's upgrading his serpentine or his pulley system to a serpentine system. So we're going to go check that out at some point tonight or in the near future. We're also going to go check out another project we got going on here soon that Micah picked up. We're calling it Project 4x-Flip. It's a 99 Chevy. It's a 4x4, hence the name 4x-Flip. It's not going to be kept. It's something that he got, work on, flip, to purchase yet another project truck. So you're going to see that soon, do a little bit of work on that. So yeah, we're all busy. I got to do some catch up with a lot of people now that I'm back. I got to get a hold of Eddie, just a bunch of people, see what's going on with their cars. So you know what, with that guys, I've been rambling enough. We're going to get started on wiring this. We're going to have a good time tonight, and I'll see you soon. Before we get started here, I do want to talk just a tad a bit about wiring. When you're wiring, especially if it's a one-off application, there's always a ton of different wires to use, connectors, fuse blocks, tools, grommets, you name it. So to kind of help with that, when I do wiring, I always have a lot of different components on hand. Like this here, it's a rubber grommet plug set. So if you got to go through the firewall, you can put different grommets in. And these are the nice ones that you can put a slit in, so it's a nice tight seal. I do have different sizes of copper lugs with the rubber shrink wrap on there also. These really help out when you're making different spade connections depending on terminal size. Kind of with that too is I do have various assortments of wires, 10 gauge, 4 gauge, I have some 6 gauge, I have some wire loom coming. And on top of it too, I did get an assortment of, small ground straps, some larger ground straps, different relays. Let's see here. Excuse my mess. I've literally been just laying stuff out working, making different terminals. So a little bit of mess. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. Some other things too is I buy these universal fuse blocks. They're nice to have in place. You can run one power to it and have multiple outputs. Choose your own amperage of fuse. So if you do have a lot of different accessories, you can start fresh. Tools. Let's talk tools. Well, you got your typical wire cutters, strippers. I do have this big one here. This is for large wire applications. It is for different sizes. You just turn this, go in there and crimp. So when you have large gauge wire like 1, 2, 3, 4 gauge wire, you can make a nice, great, tight fit with that. So yeah, tools are important with that too. Drill bits, hole saws, just all kinds of different stuff. Different MIDI fuses, got a bunch of these, different amperage fuses for other larger applications than maybe some of the smaller things that require a blade fuse. But yeah, there's always a lot of different things to have in place. Yeah, you know, another one too, just by looking here, assortment of fuses. You know, you have rubber insulated clamp assortment to keep your wires tight, nice and neat. I'm not as crazy about how it is, you know, the looks of it. I want it functional, out of the way of heat, and easy to work on just in case something happens. I know a lot of guys like to really hide some stuff. I've done applications like that too, but this is primarily going to be used for drag racing. I want everything easily accessible. So yeah, guys, that's just a really quick talk on being prepared for doing wiring. It's just not wire and a couple terminals. I mean, you need the right tools. You need grommets, you need different spade connections, shrink tubing, digital ohm meter. I have one of those too. Testing different connections, finding ground, seeing if things are open, seeing how much voltage you have at different places. So that comes in very handy also. So yeah, there's just a lot of assortment stuff. Like I said, it's a mess. As you can see here, real quick, this is 1 gauge wire. It's big, heavy duty. That's why I do have that large crimper. So there's different resources online choosing wire. Buzz from roadkill.com, he does go in there and he has like a chart in there that talks about wiring size depending the length of run, how much amperage, and what it's being used for. So always do your research when wiring. Always be prepared with the right tools, the right accessories. And I tell you what, guys, what really does help out is having an extra set of hands. You're crawling underneath the dash, you're fishing wire, you're doing this, you're doing that. Hey, I need to grab this. Hey, I need to grab that. So later on today, Kyle, the one with the big bad green machine, 1968 GTO, he's going to come over here and give me a hand with this. So before we get started, I just wanted to kind of show you, hey, you know what? There's a lot actually involved with wiring when it comes to being prepared, having the right tools, having the right parts, and having the right friends. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started now. We'll see you soon. Well, we're going to call that a night. Pretty successful night. As you saw at the beginning of the video, yeah, I said I was going to do wiring. Well, it's kind of wiring, throttle wire, cable, whatever you want to call it. I went ahead and put the new throttle cable on. That was something I totally forgot to do when I was at Micah's. That's my fault, but I was going through some parts like, oh yeah, throttle cable, kind of need that, right? So I went ahead and put that on there, got it adjusted where I want it. And after that, started doing some more wiring. Kyle and Eddie stopped by, gave me a hand. We got some more wiring taken care of. The fans all wired up now with the relay. Worked on some gauge stuff. A bunch of other miscellaneous stuff we had going on with wiring. So we're getting there. We're a lot closer than we were, let's say 2 weeks ago. I'm waiting on a few things to actually finish up a lot of this wiring. One of them being is there's a bracket I need for my MSD box. Waiting for that to come in. That should be in soon so I can get my ignition, everything wired up on that. Waiting on some of the large terminals for the large heavy gauge wire. So that's going to be coming in soon. Got a relay coming for my air pump. The one I got shipped was damaged, but you know what? Rob from Jegs, customer service, excellent. Hooked me up. Got one sent out today. No big deal. I can wait. So next steps basically is to finish it up with the ignition, finish up the gauges, finish up the air pump, tidy things up a little bit. Gauges, we're kind of kicking some ideas around of actually pulling out the dash, adding it to where other gauges would be. I'm going to look and see how much work that's actually going to be. Time's kind of a crunch right now with the No Name Nationals, but I still got to install my tach and my speedometer. I do not have a traditional speedometer for this car. I do have a GPS speedometer. Multitude of reasons I won't go into now for that, but I am putting a GPS speedometer in this car. Then after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to install that flamethrower kit. And at the end of the day, we were looking at different ways to do that. So we're going to get that installed. And once we get this car ready to go, get it fired, we're going to get it tuned, obviously. And once it's tuned and all the crap's burned out of the exhaust, I'll get my AFR kit set up in this. Mind you, we already welded in the bungs, but I do have some plugs for those for the initial, if you want to call it fresh exhaust burnout. After doing a little bit of research, it was suggested if you're putting your AFR kit in and you have a fresh exhaust system in, especially if you did any paint work or anything like that, there could be any contaminants within that exhaust. You want to burn that out before you put your O2 sensors in so you don't damage them. Just one of those little tips right there you kind of pick up. My garage is an absolute dumpster fire right now, which I'm kind of glad. That kind of shows we had a successful night and got a lot done. Really hope you enjoyed that video tonight. Like I said before, small things take time. You saw all the small things on the mechanicals when we were at Micah's. Now you're seeing all the small things with wiring and all those little intricate details that really make everything, quote unquote, come alive. It was nice catching up with Eddie and Kyle. Sat out back, chilled for a little bit, just shot the shit, talked cars, maybe some future projects. Speaking of future projects, the next video you're going to see, I'm going to be at Micah's shop, and we're probably going to do a little bit of work on Project 4x Flip, and probably do a little bit of work on Project 9194. And I got a phone call from him today, and he bought another truck. Not going to give any details away on it. I know the truck. It's super clean. You're going to like it. So we got a whole lot of content coming. Still got to do catch up with Kyle's car, what he's going on with that. Go check out Eddie's stuff. Get this done. It's a revolving world of hot rods. That's the way we like it. That's the way we're going to keep it. Never-ending fun, never-ending projects. It's just go, go, go. Have a whole lot of fun. Hang out with your friends. And you know what, guys? With that, it's late. I got to work tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.